hello and welcome to Beauty as Past TV. I'm Ritu, and we are honored to have with us Andrea Peixoto Garrison. Sorry, the pronunciation is going awry, and so I'm just being careful about it, as I am with all our guests. So we're really honored to have you, Andrea, with us. So Andrea is the owner, the founder of Bella Mademoiselle. A brand that has some very interesting lines in Amazonian skincare and makeup, and the foundations of which are, as shared by Andrea, they are organic, they are natural, sensitive to the skin, and so on. So Andrea migrated to United States by herself at the very young age of 20 years and to pursue her American dream. And she spent 20 years working for a Fortune 500 company and gained cross-functional training in sales, finance, HR, marketing, project management, and so on. So during her corporate career, Andrea has received awards, including the Senior Leader Top Women in Convenience in 2019, and so on. And she's got several awards, and we will dwell upon it later when we are talking to her. And then she went on to, take the bait of, the attraction of entrepreneurship, and started with Bella Mademoiselle in 2019. And today, the brand is across various countries. It's been developed in Milan, and has been successfully launched in the USA and Brazil. It has 2 skincare lines, is exclusively sold throughout, multiple beauty clinics, dermatologists' offices, and at premier spa locations, which includes the Canyon Ranch Spa and Wellness. Bella Mademoiselle is now expanding throughout Europe in 2023. So welcome, Andrea, to Beauty as Past TV, and thank you for taking time out for us. And
thank you, Ritu. It's an honor to be here.
Andrea, when we, get brands to and brand heads to talk to us, we like to know what made them, get into it, take the, as I said, the bait of entrepreneurship, and that too in the beauty industry. It's never easy.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Well, I think I had the advantage of having the corporate training. That's how I look at it, because it really gave me a lot of foundations to take that step, right? Because it is not easy. When people think that they're working a lot for corporations, 8 to 5, well, buckle up. When you have your own business, there is no hours. It's 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. and, you don't stop until the job is done. But I had planned that. I'm one that always write my goals since a very young age. So I had a 10-year plan, and I was, in my mind, wanted to retire, per se, from the corporate world before the retirement age. And wanted to do and get my own business again, because my first business I had when I was 18 years old back in Brazil. So I always wanted to go back and say, I want to create something different, not just a brand, not just a product, but also make a difference. And I started planning that in 2018. Through 2019, which I was still, working full time. So I didn't have a lot of time to put on Bala. So I considered the brand only 2 years old because that's when I really had the time to put all of the effort and make it grow.
Sure.
But that, that's what made me go into this big step is when you're doing something for yourself, I think it's more rewarding.
Absolutely. It is. And and the rigor is, I think, 10 times more than what, you do. I don't want to undermine the hard work people do in different offices in the world, but entrepreneurship is quite something else because you're putting everything you have into it. So why in the world did you choose the cosmetic business?
Right? One of the most competitive, mainly here in the US.
Yes.
Well, I think I was one that actually did not take care of my skin growing up. Hats off to the new generation. They're years ahead. So I always had a lot of skin problems as well. High pigmentation, allergies, and, acne. So I wanted to find a product that I always said, if it works on me, it will work wonders for anybody because I have a really tough skin. So that's one. And also finding something that could give back to the community. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but not just a brand. Also honor some of the things where I come from Brazil, the Amazonian rainforest. They have wonderful ingredients, well known across the world. And why made in Europe? Because to me, the best cosmetics, growing up in Brazil, we always knew came from Europe. So that's how this idea came up. It's like in my skin, I had problems, so I wanted to share something good with people that have the same issues that I had.
Okay, that sounds good. So when I have seen, looked at the kind of range that you have on offer in just about 4 years of being on the market, I wonder, about your skincare and makeup lines. What went behind? Of course, you say that you wanted to include the ingredients from the Amazon, and because that was maybe have been a part of your growing up. So, what else went into it? Because I see the packaging also really stands out.
Yes.
So really would like to understand what were the building blocks when you went about it.
Absolutely. So the two skincare lines, the Amazonian one is really sustainable, eco-friendly, all natural, organic. Even the packaging, when you open up, there's no plastic. You read instructions inside. And it's really like a spa grade. I always like to show, but it's a spa grade line that you could have a full facial treatment at home. So if you cannot go to the spa, and COVID actually changed some of our habits in life, right? Now you can also do that at the comfort of your home. Sure. The second line, it's also more for fighting anti-aging to deeper wrinkles, and somebody who traveled my whole life, like myself, very light, very innovative. And I wanted something that you could carry in your purse and you don't have to carry 5-10 pounds of makeup when you travel. Mm-hmm. And it's fast, it's effective, and it's waste-free. All of my packaging on this line has a smart technology. So when you press, it gives you the exact amount. I'm one that doesn't like to read a lot of the instructions, right? And people say 2 fingers or a little drop. What does that mean? Well, when you press that, it will give you exactly what you need, and then you apply, and it goes right back into to give you the next dose exactly to what you need. So all of that was part of creating the packaging. And I was very involved in the whole process. Even though I have an outstanding cosmetic lab, I was very involved in the packaging, the color, the consistency, the smell, can we change trendy ingredients and things like that? Because I guess that's just who I am. I like to have my little a finger on it per se, to create something that also aligns with my personality. But that's the reason behind the packaging. And I wanted something that stands out. I always looked at the cosmetics packaging, and they have beautiful ones, but most of them are more on the clear, natural, light colors. Why I also went with the black and copper, which is, the colors of my brand, because it really stands out.
Sure. So another thing that, increasingly in the beauty world, we are talking about clean beauty and, sustainable beauty. I mean, these are going to be the buzzwords for the coming years. It's just started, I think. And more and more people are also focusing on anti-brands. And there's a bunch of terms have just emerged in the last few years, and especially clean. And, so how do you relate to that when it comes to your brand?
Yeah, I think, the skincare, both of them, 100% all natural. The makeup becomes a little bit more of a challenge because you have a shorter shelf life. It dries a little quicker, but you can still do it. 80% of my line on the makeup is also all natural. There's some products that are not, that are more for the professional makeup artists, but it's all disclaimed. And nowadays, everybody's very well educated on what to look for, how to read the labels. To your point, those are not only buzzwords, but they do have a very specific niche of consumers following, and they will not buy, right, things that are not sustainable, organic. So all of my packaging is recyclable. We're working on a program. In the future, we're not there yet, but even this, there's a refill. So you pull, you never have to buy this again. You just buy the refill. In the future plans are, how do we actually create something that if it comes like in this or in a jar, you just buy a refill and you use the same packaging? Or you have a recycle program that I'm trying to work with some retailers, that the consumer will bring the container, drop it for recycling, and then get, dollars off or discount for the next purchase. And we will take that packaging and recycle. So those are things that I think is very important. And ingredients, I have even, sometimes people that will really ask about gluten-free, not only the all natural, right? And then there's a certain education that also needs to be done on gluten only if you consume, right? You have to digest, you have to eat it. So there's a lot of things that, not only buzzwords, but there's a need for education on the product for the consumers. And that's the biggest challenge nowadays. That's why social media is so important, because you can talk to the consumers not being there.
Yes.
And but it's very short. So you have 30 seconds, to provide a lot of information about a product. So, but we're there, and I'm very proud to say we also help the Amazonian community. 10% of my sales on the Amazonian beauty retail lines is donated back to the community to provide better living conditions, because it's very sad, but a lot of them don't even have potable water at home.
That's great. So having spoken about sustainable and so on, and you have been showing me that, is that a cream that you...
Yes, this is my, as we say in America, my BFF, my best friend forever. Yeah. It's 3 levels of hyaluronic acid. So you apply, and even this, you don't have to touch the product. You pump it and you apply. And it's actually also a very well accepted on the male community. Mm-hmm. Actually, 11% of the sales of this product are by males. So, so this is a topic, and very effective to fight wrinkles. That's my marketing. I still don't do Botox, nothing against it. But when you have good skincare, you can maintain.
Yes. Or you can grow fat like I did. That's a joke. Anyway, so you have spoken about this product a lot. Then any other skincare winners that you think are breakthrough products for you and nobody else is doing it, or you did it for the first time and then it started happening on the market?
Yes, absolutely. And that is the other serum. This is from the Amazonian. Mm-hmm. And the clay mask, which is also from the Amazonian line. Those are my winners, and the mask nowadays, it's another thing that a lot of people are going back to, applying a mask, right? You see it everywhere, whether you just put it on but the Amazonian clay really pulls the impurities of your skin. And that's critical for people like me when you have acne and things like that. And it's 10 minutes, and that's a big winner. And the serum. My serum is used by makeup artists to prep the skin before doing the makeup. And all of my clients, they use this. They cannot go away from this product because your skin will glow immediately. It hydrates. And, if you don't have a full skincare routine and you don't want to use a lot of products, you can do it with a couple. So those are my best sellers on the skincare. And then you have the makeup, of course, not only packaging, but all natural mascara, vegan, and it can be removed with warm water. As well as my lipstick that will stay for a very, very, very long time, made with urucum, which is a seed from Brazil. And you can put that on and it will stay for 12 hours. So you can go to a wedding and not have to worry about it. So those are my best winners here.
Awesome. Yeah, I have often wondered, about both Amazon and in my own country, Ayurvedic brands. What happened, what was the strategy where K-beauty became so big and all the A beauties of the world have still not gotten there, but it didn't make so much sound as the K-beauty did, So now when it comes to your brand, you were just speaking about men, like your 11% of your sales for that product is for men. What else? Do you have a line for men? How much do men count when it comes to your brand?
They absolutely count. And I still don't have a full line for men. That is my next step and plan, is to have it. And I'm doing a lot of research right now on what's really important for men, because they want something simple, not a lot of steps like we do for women, maybe 1, 2, or 3 products at the most. And also studying the different skin types, because that's critical. So there's a lot of research that has to go into that before you can launch something effectively. And I'm also doing a lot of, we call study groups, right? To answer questions, 400 to 600 people to say, what is important to you? What are the products that you use, and packaging? Because packaging is critical for men, right? The colors, the size, how practical it is. There's a lot of people that actually have 2-in-1 products and they're good with that. So that will come in the future. But I do right now sell not only this one here that I keep showing, the filler gel, but also the serum and the mask for a lot of male consumers.
Okay. So next, we'll talk about approaching the Indian market. At some point, you would like to be maybe here. And I often wonder why, because, I understand that, it is an important market for everyone, but how much does a brand prepare when you want to enter a market? So I'm sure that there are qualities that apply everywhere. You have a good product, it's good for everyone. But then there are certain things where, a certain kind of skincare is required, a certain kind of, makeup, the color shades are required. I remember when MAC entered our market, they finally had to tweak the shades of, the foundations they had. And then it became, started rolling out very well. So similarly, what is it that you see, if in the market, and how do you want to approach it?
And that's a great question, because I think anytime you are coming into a new market, there's a lot of research to be done and rely on the experts, right? You need to understand what are the trading shades, colors. I always relied on very good makeup artists, because they do it all the time and they can tell you what shades are being used or sold or not, right? And you have to listen to the people. Sure. But I also would love to get into that market because of the all natural and the ingredients and how people actually look for those more natural skincare and way of life, I would say. So the wellness and being so important. And I also think that we need to tweak for sure some of the colors palettes coming into markets like that. And in the future, when I get into a new market, what I want to do is create palettes that will be more suitable to that one person. Another trending thing right now, people are doing this color palette. What colors look good on you? Hot, warm, clothes, right? Accessories. And then you can have your own makeup palette, everything in one, your own, shadows, lipstick, whatever, in one place. But relying on research, to me, and I read about MAC and the tweaking the shades, and how sometimes you come in with 50 shades and you actually just need 10, right? But yes. The 10 that's selling in India is not going to be the same 10 that's selling in Brazil. and also seasonalities. Different markets have seasonalities. US is really big on that. Not so much in Brazil, other than the World Cup and Carnival, right? But here you have Valentine's, you have Christmas, and people really wear those colors. Yeah. So it's really understanding and getting with somebody that's been in the market that can give you valuable research information. That's what I'm going to rely on.
Yeah, great. Actually, years back, now it's happening less and less with the new brands that enter. Lipstick would melt because of the temperatures that we have here, the summers, going up to 40 degrees centigrade and on and on. So that was something that, initially we felt. But now I think brands have grown very smart, and that's good news for the consumer. So now I've also seen and read about your brand, and you believe in the word of mouth, and that your consumer is your brand ambassador and so on. So tell us more about your marketing strategy and how does it work?
Yes, I always believe when you start a business and a brand, you have to own your backyard. So if I live in Orlando, Florida, everybody in Orlando, Florida needs to know Bella Mademoiselle. It starts there and then you go to the world, right? And I also believe in providing a lot of trial. So you got to get a community, do events. I did a lot of events for this brand to grow. Local events, Miami, some of the main cities that you concentrate. Miami, Tampa, New York, LA. So you gather some influencers locally, women particularly. And I had events, spa. Who's not going to come, to a spa day when you get free facials? I used to hire some excellent makeup artists, and they do your makeup, and then you see the difference, and you're trying on the brand right there. Mm-hmm. I don't buy followers on social media. If you see the models on my website and all that, most of them are actually clients. And Diana, the main one that always shows up, actually bought my line and contacted me and said, I love your products and I want to be the face of your brand. To me, that's a huge compliment from somebody who actually really understands this market and wears all kinds of different brands. So word of mouth is very, very important.
That's great. So you are also working with fashion weeks and
yes, and we did a partnership. So Bella will be sponsoring the luxury gift bag experience at Fashion Week in New York City and Milan, which is outstanding. I'm very excited about that. And we're also going to be at Cosmoprof in Bologna. Okay. So that will be kind of like our announcement to Europe that Bella is coming. And the expansion to the European market. But very excited about Fashion Week, and particularly for New York and Milan, and the bridge between those two cities, right? When it comes to fashion. And New York also, I've done some events there, and that might tie into another regional test with some retail around it. So it's very exciting news.
Yeah. And I must tell you that while we are at it, because, in India, so fashion has always been separate from beauty, had been, but then suddenly one very mass brand, it's a mass brand in India. It took on, asking designers to create a line of colors for their nail paints. And so that's how it started. And now there's a major fashion week named by that brand, whereas that brand is in the masstige this thing, but it's been very successful. That strategy has really worked for them.
So, yes, and at Fashion Week we'll be launching a new product, and it's still confidential. So we're going to review at Fashion Week, but it has all to do with the 2023 Pantone Magenta. Mm-hmm. And to your point, that's now aligning. It's what colors are in fashion and designers, what are they using, runway looks, and tying that into your makeup line.
So that generates huge energy indeed, and that's very interesting. So okay, so I will just go back to we've spoken of men, but still gender. We are living in a world of gender fluidity where it doesn't matter who's doing the makeup and who's wearing nail paints. It's more about embracing, and all genders inclusive. So. How do you look at gender as a brand? How do you look at it? Do you kind of emphasize that as a point, because there are brands which are increasingly talking about inclusivity in terms of gender or whatever culture and so on. So how do you approach it?
Yeah, and it's actually the way I approach it is actually having products that go for all consumers. That in itself is an inclusive brand. Right. And getting feedback from a lot of, the Bella community and the male. What are they looking for? What do they like or not like? Whether you're male, female, or, it doesn't matter, but they just want to be part of this community. And that was part of launching the skincare. It's good for any, and it's inclusive. And I don't market per se, making statements, hey, because I think everybody knows, just looking at the community and who is around it, from makeup artists to circus friends to, the community is very diverse on itself. It is a diverse brand. So they feel welcome once they touch and try it. So I don't market specifically for that.
Awesome. So before we go to talking about your distribution and you have some network in Brazil, before that, I just want you to quickly focus upon the retail strategy. So, omni-channel has become the way to go. And, in India, it's extremely big. We have some big unicorns in in the field of online sales for beauty. And suddenly they have emerged, So what do you think about online? Because I have my own, I'm a bit old school, so I feel that if I have to buy makeup, I really need to look at it on my skin before I buy it,
Yes, and that's a great point. I think we have evolved to online. You have to have some strategy of trial, because I'm the same way. If I'm going to spend money, particularly on very expensive skincare or makeup, I would like to try it before. So subscription has become very popular, and you can partner with different channels to say, hey, let's put some of my brand in there. And people that sign up monthly subscriptions, that has become huge. They will get to try your product. Online right now, so my strategy, I'll just take a step back real quick, but initially it was more focused on skincare and for spas. That was my initial focus. So because I wanted a unique and high-end brand, I didn't go in, immediately to the Amazons of the world or the big sellers here in the West. I actually did the opposite. It's different strategy, from local events to high-end spas, to then give you the credibility, because when you sell with those dermatologists and beauty clinics, people are getting treatments there. So they're interacting with your brands, and the statisticians are actually applying your product on the client. So that was the strategy, and it has worked. Of course, you don't get the massive sales right away. It takes longer, you spend more, but the reward will come, and I think with higher credibility. So online now, social media is another thing that you have to spend the money on. It's not just a buzzword, but I do get a lot of sales from TikTok and Instagram. And a lot of times it doesn't come necessarily from your account, right? Because you're just doing the ads. Yeah. But that has a huge return. And also trials. So you get some influencers and you send people. And I'm not one that looks at, only if they have a ton of followers. If somebody comes to me and say, hey, I would love to try your brand, they will get a sample. And I believe in that. That's the 101. The attention that you get from a brand to me, is very personal and very important. So I think that's the strategy. In the future, of course, retail, you have the massive unicorns, like you said, and people still go there to shop a lot for makeup and skincare. That hasn't changed. The percentage of people have changed, right? Particularly the younger generation, it's 78%, if I'm not mistaken, in the US, online sales. Mm-hmm. So you have to have a good strategy for that and keep bidding on social media.
Right. So, and before I forget, you also go to dermatologists with your brand. So is there a specific line you have for them, or how does it work?
I usually bring the skincare lines and the more natural makeup as well, because there's a lot of, again, hypersensitive skin patients, hypoallergenic, look for makeup. Mm-hmm. And I bring the high performance, which is the deep wrinkle fighting, and the spa. The spa one, facial treatment doesn't go so well on the dermatologist, right? Because they want something deeper. And it's more like a home care. After you get your Botox or your filler, you can go home and continue the treatment with some of my products. Those are the ones that I bring.
Okay, amazing. So now let's talk about your distribution setup in Brazil, and how does it work? Are you like supporting and importing brands to distribute there, or?
Yes, so I also have my own importer, so we can import medical devices and cosmetics to Brazil, which is a very challenging market to get into. Including for myself, who's from there, right? So a lot of people give up because of the bureaucracy and the challenges, and highly competitive. So even though I have this, I assist with bringing the brands. We don't provide a full distribution assistance. We can provide some, but in bringing the brand, absolutely. And we have only brought 3 brands so far into Brazil. And that's because we're just now expanding in this whole network. Mm-hmm. And, then in Brazil is a whole different dynamic. Where do you sell? It's, online is now picking up, and they have sites. Actually, one of the best selling sites are created by a lot of makeup artists that promote the products, so it's very different. It's not just your Amazon. There's something called Mercado Livre that is similar, that is growing. Mm-hmm. So those are the assistance that we also provide, a little bit of insight, depending on the brand, where you should go, who you should sell to, and some of the consumer insights for the market.
Sure, that sounds great. So since you are a planner, some of us are planners and some of us are, spontaneous. Totally confused and in chaos. So what do you visualize? Have you now visualized your brand also for 10 years forward? Where do you see yourself, say, in the short term and the long term?
Yes, absolutely. I think short term is getting into the European market, which is happening this year, right? Long term, then getting into markets like India and Asia. And I want to be in the top airports, duty-free, and massive retail, but, where it makes sense for high-end brands, mm-hmm. and truly be a recognized global skincare and makeup brand. So every time you go into those unicorns, as you call, in every market, you see Bella, and you will relate to high-end quality and results. That's what I want to see in 10 years.
That sounds perfect. So before we kind of close this, we have this this is the most interesting part of the interview, I feel, when I, kind of goad the directors and the, cosmetics people who are there and they know it all. I would just love to know what your regime looks like, your hair, how do you take care of it, skincare, your wellness, fitness, we'd love to hear that from
Absolutely.
you. Yeah.
Well, like I said, when you spend years in corporate, you need to learn how to relieve your stress, right? So well-being and fitness. I love to practice yoga. I've been doing it for 12 years. And that's something that I can do if I'm in a hotel room or in a cruise ship. Mm-hmm. I can just bring my mat and I'm done. And my other hobby is flying trapeze. I love the adrenaline. But I would only jump high if there's a net underneath it. But that is, I'm fascinated by it. So I love to do that. And skincare and hair, of course, skincare, I only do use my products. I have not launched anything that I have not tried myself personally for at least 2 to 3 months on the skincare and 2 to 3 times on the makeup. So everything you see today is my own brand. And I didn't have a good skincare routine until recently, but I used the Amazonian line during the day and then the high performance at night, and mix the serum with the foundation. And hair care, my favorite brand are Kerastase and Orbe, the Orebe, as we call here. Yeah. They are fantastic. Orbe is all natural. They have fantastic products. And, I do go and do hydration once a week as well with some of the Kerastase products, and go to the salon once a week to do a full, restructure. So that's a little bit of the Brazilian roots in me, because we tend to do that. And that's it. I mean, for health, I'm trying to be not only on a diet, but try to make a lifestyle of eating better. And, I have a weakness for sweets, so I'm trying to eliminate that. But, to keep healthier, it's not just about the look. I think when we do that, you feel better, you sleep better, and you have more energy.
Okay. So another thing, which I like to ask, because there's one thing about taking care of your body, and there's another thing about the mind, because the stressors are only increasing with all the pollution, all the COVIDs of the world attacking from all sides. So how do you take care of your mind?
Oh, like I said, yoga for me is one, and meditation. I meditate every day. And I also believe, and this is not a cliche, it took me a long time to get here. It's the saying, I wish I knew then what I know now. But it is a choice. It is a choice to wake up every day and say, no matter what's happening, because not every day is great and it's shiny or the sun is shining, right? It might be cloudy and you might be having not such a great day. But change your mindset and really focus on how am I going to get through it? If I get a challenge, put it out there. If you have to suffer through the process, you do it. But recovering and how you actually motivate yourself every day is critical, because nobody else will do that for you. And it is definitely a choice. I learned that, and it's took me a long time. But it's like you wake up every morning and you can choose to be happy or not. And if you don't like something, change. And that's what I also changed. I changed. I love the corporate world, but I'm happier now, because it's not about the hours, it's the reward that you get out of it, right? And change your mindset and do something good for you. That's another thing I learned. Don't stop doing things that are good for you. I get a massage every week. I don't give up on that. And I go to trapeze, including when I travel internationally. I try to find places that I can do that, because it keeps my mind sane. It's my disconnect. And that's necessary. Once in a while, you just need to turn it off, disconnect, and focus on yourself.
That's fantastic. So thank you, Andrea, for joining us today at Beauty and Spas TV. And all the best for your ventures. And we wish you all the very best and good luck.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.